Hola muchachos, ¿qué tal? Buenos días. Aquí tienen el horario para hoy, miércoles el 6 de abril. You had two assignments due for today. The first was the interview activity Descanso de Primavera, the one that had the 15 squares to fill in. And then the other one was the discussion that we began last class on the importance of studying abroad, some of the advantages and benefits and incentives, motivations for you to consider that opportunity should you continue your studies in college. Our learning targets for today are to recognize and discuss the benefits and the importance of study abroad, as we did previously, and to express past actions in the preterite or simple past tense. So your warm-up question for today, do you think study abroad should be a requirement for graduation from university? Why or why not? And do you feel like it should be a graduation from high school? Why or why not? In English, 3 to 4 sentences responding to that prompt, and draw upon the advantages and the benefits of studying abroad that we talked about in our previous course. Our agenda for today, we're going to continue talking about studying abroad in the lecture in Spanish, La Unidad de la Comunidad Internacional, and then some comprehension questions on page 147, and then I'll give you guys the rest of class as we have an abbreviated schedule today with the PD Day to work on your oral presentation, Preparándose para un viaje, and that is your homework due next class. So let's dive right on into it. First, the reading on pages 146 and 147, we're going to read about Sister Cities International Program and to learn a little bit more about exchanges, bilateral and international exchanges. So here you have the reading about Ciudades Hermanas Internacional, sister cities. Ciudad means city. When it was created, the objective, how the program has grown and what it looks like today, and a little bit of an analysis on how to become a sister city, what the requirements are, the economic exchange, and then it continues on page 147, the cultural and educational exchange between sister cities. Comprehension questions that you're going to answer utilizing the text to respond. Number 1, ¿por qué es importante el programa de las Ciudades Hermanas Internacional? Why is the program important? Usually the questions are in chronological order, so you can look at that first paragraph on page 146. Perhaps in the mission, or in a little bit of the summary, if you will, or the thesis. A través de la cooperación económica, cultural y educativa, el programa de Ciudades Hermanas construye puentes entre las personas y ayuda a la comprensión entre diferentes culturas. That sounds like a thesis statement to me. As you can see, the economic, cultural, and educational cooperation is broken down into these different body paragraphs. So I'd look at the very beginning for number 1 for the answer, and you can just pull it straight from the text and paraphrase. Number 2, ¿qué es necesario para tener una ciudad hermana? What are the requirements? What is needed to create a sister city? Number 3, ¿por qué es importante el intercambio económico y el intercambio cultural? You can look at those body paragraphs that discuss each of those. Si tu ciudad tiene una ciudad hermana, ¿qué puedes hacer como un joven embajador? What can you do as a youth ambassador to serve your sister city? ¿Cuál es la ciudad hermana de Phoenix, Atlanta, y Toledo? So what are the sister cities of Phoenix, Atlanta, and Toledo? And in your opinion, and then finally, in your opinion, en tu opinión, ¿cuál es la regla más importante para los jóvenes embajadores? In your opinion, what is the most important role for youth ambassadors? And again, you can pull that right from the reading. Next on our agenda is to work on your homework, which is Presentación Oral Preparándose para un Viaje. The description is on page 149, but I'm going to change it a little bit, so you're not going to go off of exactly what's on the box there, the columns. So what I'd like you to do instead is I want you to make a list of 5 things that you need and 5 activities that you will do. And rather than going on a trip, I want you to imagine that you're doing a study abroad experience. So it doesn't need to be a Spanish-speaking country. It could be any country that you'd like to visit for a summer study abroad or a semester or maybe even a year-long study abroad. And I want you can use this outline, list 5 items that you would like to bring with you. And again, this is a summary of Chapter 3A. So I know it's been a while since we went on spring break, but you can go to the glossary for this chapter, which I believe is page 156. 152. Has all the key vocabulary for this chapter. Places that we run our errands. You may recall we looked at this obviously at the very beginning. Items that we buy according to the different locations where we run our errands. So for this, you can pick any 5 items. They can be items of clothing or just hygienic, personal hygiene items, and list them in the target language. Again, you can go to page 152 for a lot of those. Clothing, I want to say, is 198. Is that right? Yeah. No, not 98. Shoot, 99 is numbers. Sorry about that. Found it. It's on page 70 of your textbook. Página 70. You have upper body clothing here on the left and lower body clothing there on the right. So you can use that vocabulary as well for the 5 items that you plan on bringing to your study abroad. So you're going to list the item here on the first column on the left. This middle column is pretty straightforward. It's asking, did you already buy it? Si lo compré means yes, I bought it, or no lo compré would be no, I didn't buy it. Keep in mind, though, that you're going to put lo or la. Remember the direct object pronouns depending upon whether the item itself is masculine or feminine, right? Lo for masculine singular, la for feminine singular, los if the item is masculine plural, and las if the item is feminine plural. Lo, la, los, and las. In English would translate to it or them. So indicate if you've already bought the item or not in the second column, and then in the third column, refer to the key vocabulary back on page 152 to indicate where you purchased that item. All right, so you're going to have something just like this, and then you can lay it out. I don't need anything visual per se, because this is an oral presentation, so you're going to present it orally, although you're welcome to have images, just images of the items or the locations. If you want to do that, that would be great if you were to include images, but it's not required. So you have 5 items that you've purchased for your trip, for your study abroad, and then give me 5 verbs, 5 things that you did in the past, almost as though you're looking back on your study abroad experience. The verb to visit, visitar, the verb to go, ir, the verb to study, estudiar, the verb comer, to eat, beber, to drink, ver, to see. What experiences are you looking forward to in this place where you're going to study? And you're gonna jot down 5 verbs expressed in the past to talk about those different activities. Kind of like what you guys did for your project. 5 verbs in the preterite. The preterite you can find on pages 110. That has the regular endings of the preterite for AR, ER, and IR verbs. And then if you go to page 140, there you have the regular endings. Page 140 will give you the irregular conjugations that you may want to use of the verbs ir and ser. Ir is the verb to go, and you may end up wanting to use that, and you have it there on page 140. So to run it back, instead of 10 items, you're listing 5, the item in Spanish, whether you have already purchased it or not, and then where you purchased it, the location, general location, farmacia, supermercado, almacén is like a big box store, banco, lo que sea. And then 5 activities, 5 things you plan on doing or hope to do in that country, and you're going to express those 5 verbs in the preterite. Submit that as a video or just an audio file. It's up to you, but it needs to be an oral presentation. How long does it need to be? I'd say around 1 minute, maybe minute 30. I would think no more than a minute 30 to be able to cover the 5 items and then the 5 activities that you did. So that is your homework for tonight. Is that oral presentation done as a video or an audio file. And I will see you in class, muchachos. Hasta luego. Ciao.